there and welcome to Yoga for Scoliosis. My name is Jane Ashurst from Radiant Heart Yoga. I've been a yoga teacher for the past 14 years and I have scoliosis of the spine. I didn't know that I had scoliosis when I first started practicing yoga. I just knew that from being a teenager I'd had very bad back pain, and it also transferred into my shoulder as well, in my neck, and I had really bad posture, and I thought that the bad posture was creating all of my issues. Anyway, so I started doing yoga, and pretty soon I could tell that in certain poses there was something not quite right with my spine. So like in a forward fold, I could feel that my spine actually was in that shape. And also when I rolled forwards and backwards, I'll just show you quickly. When I did this kind of thing, I couldn't stay in a straight line. I just used to roll off to one side. And my spine is actually like this. That is a slight exaggeration. But I was so convinced that there was something wrong that I went to a chiropractor who took an x-ray of my spine. And I've got to say that I was shocked at first by just how sort of out of shape it was. But I was also relieved because I'd found out what was going on. And I decided that, well, it wasn't even really a conscious decision. I knew that I could use my yoga practice to start to correct this. I was told that it was structural, which would mean that it would always be that shape. But years down the line, I feel that it wasn't structural because it's almost gone. And I think it was muscular. So this is going to be a set of 4 practices, 4 videos, and the first one that we're going to do today is all about twisting. I found that at the beginning twisting was the very best way to give me some relief and also to start to correct things. And because the twisting happens in your thoracic spine, which is the middle part of your spine, that is also where I still have got more of a rounded spine than a lot of other people, but I'd started to almost get like the beginning of like a little hump there in the middle of my back. So this is a really, really great one for looking at that and addressing that. So there's quite a few different twists in the practice. Lots in fact, but we're going to do some lying down twists, which mean that you're not going to be tweaking anything because you're lying on the floor and supporting your back while you do it. You may need some props. You can substitute these bricks for a stack of books, and you know, we've all got cushions in the house, and that's what you may prefer to use. So the first one is, you're just going to lie down on your back and take your feet nice and wide and just have your arms down by your sides, and you might find that, you know, your shoulders don't relax all the way down to the floor, and that's fine. Just relax them as much as you can. And you can also put a folded blanket or a book underneath your head. And you're just going to drop your knees from side to side. So that's going to begin to release your lower back. And that first position that I came into, so this with your feet wide and your knees gently knocking together, you can stay here longer before you start to drop your knees from side to side, until you feel as though that any sort of tension in the muscles in your lower back starts to unravel a little bit. And then from here, you're going to bring your feet together and you're going to shift your hips a little bit across to the right, well, quite a lot actually. It's probably about 5 or 6 inches, but you're not moving your shoulders, and you're going to draw your knees in towards your chest, and then you're going to drop both knees over to the left. And then just look down your body and see if you can get your body into a straight line from the crown of your head to your hips. And I'm trying to relax this right shoulder down towards the floor. And I'm also trying to keep my knees stacked and my feet stacked. And at first, you're probably going to find that you're going to need to either put something underneath this bottom knee to get this right shoulder to relax. You'll see it a bit more on the other side. Or something between your knees, and maybe even hold something or rest your hand on something on this other side. But I'm going to ask you, or I'm going to suggest that you stay here about maybe a minute, and you can adjust this twist. So the further away your legs are, the more that the twist is going to be in your lower back. The more you bring your knees towards you, the more that the twist is going to be in your thoracic and towards your upper back. And that's what you're aiming for. You may need to start with your knees further down, but that's what you're aiming for, because you want it to move into your thoracic spine, where everyone is tight in that area, but we are especially tight in that area. And you want to start to release the tension and bring a bit more mobility into your rib cage area. And while you're in the twist, I would also suggest you can even put this other hand on the side of your ribs, and I want you to try and breathe into this right side of your ribs. So the muscles between your ribs, the intercostal muscles, they're going to get very contracted and very tight. So it's like a concertina. And what you want to do is try and open that up. And the other way to do it, in addition to the stretch, is to breathe. And imagine that as you breathe in, I'll do it for you, that you're opening your ribs up. And as you breathe out, you're relaxing again. And as you relax, you're trying to drop this right shoulder down towards the floor. Okay? So I'll show you what that looks like on the other side, just so that you can see. I'm not going to stay there as long as we did, but what I would like you to do is use a timer on your phone or any other way of timing yourself, so that you stay at least a minute in each of the twists. And once you find out which is your more challenging side, you stay twice as long on that side. That is how you're going to bring the balance back. That is the most important part. So I'm going to shift my hips to the left, and then pick my knees up and drop them over to the right. I'm going to have a little check that my torso's in a straight line, make any adjustments that I need to make. And then my knees, I'm going to try and keep my knees together and my feet stacked. I'm lengthening my spine, and then I'm reaching my left arm out to the left. Now this is my tighter side. This is because of the way that my spine curves. So I would spend longer on this side, yeah? And again, you can put your brick and help you in the side with your knees on, or you can hold the brick in your hand or rest your hand on the brick. And again, breathe into those ribs. Look for that expansion with every breath in, and then as you breathe out, you're trying to soften that left shoulder. And I don't know whether you can see, but my left shoulder is now on the floor. So don't worry if at first you come into it and you think, oh my Lord, this is just so tight. As you relax into it, then you will start to drop deeper into it. But there's no rush, okay? Don't rush it, don't force it, don't push it. That's not what we're here for. And then another thing to watch for is, as you come out of it, you want to protect your lower back. I know for me, my lower back was very sensitive. And so to do that, you're going to pull your ribs down, and as you come out, you're going to push your lower back into the floor, and that's going to support your back. Okay, so twist number 2 is you're going to cross your right thigh over your left, and then you're going to shift your hips to the right again and drop both knees to the left. So it's a little bit different, it's going to just get into a different part of your spine, but it's the same cues in terms of supporting yourself. So you can put something underneath that knee, you could hold something in your hand, or you can do both. This hand is going to rest on your legs. It's not going to push them down, you're just going to let the weight of your hand encourage your legs to drop down. I'm going to get as much on my upper back as I can on the floor, and then I'm going to start to relax this right shoulder down towards the floor. I've not said anything about where you're going to look, what you're going to do with your head. I want you, this is what I normally do, when I get into the twist, I start to just gently roll my head from one shoulder to the other. And as I'm doing that and I'm releasing my neck, I'm also thinking about what is the best position for my neck in this. It's not always about getting the biggest twist, it's finding something that you can relax into as well as twist. And then again, set your timer at least a minute, and then when you're ready to come out, use this elbow, pull your ribs down, press your lower back into the floor as you come out, okay? And then same thing on the other side. So just do it quickly on this side so that you've just seen what it looks like from the back, the way that my hips are stacked. Oops. Cross your left thigh over your right. Shift your hips over to the left, and then drop both knees to the right. Okay, so I'm getting myself in a straight line. I'm reaching this top hip away. So you want to create lots of space through the torso. Your body loves space. Now for me, the cross leg twist is easier than the legs together because of the scoliosis. For most people, the legs together is the easiest twist. So you can always mix your twists around and do different ones. And then again, to come out, push with your elbow, pull your ribs down, press your lower back into the floor. Okay, so last twist, you're going to draw your right knee in towards your chest and extend your left leg out along the floor. And then again, I'm just going to shift my hips across a little bit, and I'm going to drop this right knee over, okay? And my left leg is straight. So again, exactly the same. You can have, again, this one is a little bit more challenging for me. So I'm trying to drop this right shoulder towards the floor, and then I'm going to relax into it. So I'm looking across to the right. You can look up, you can look over to the side. Find again that the most easeful position for your neck. And again, don't forget the breath. So you're really trying to expand a lateral breath. So you're trying to breathe out into the sides of your ribs. And you breathe in through your nose, mouth gently closed. If it feels really tight at any time in your practice when you first come into something, a really good breath technique to use there is a big breath in through your nose, and then open your mouth and use the way that breath helps you to relax your muscles, to keep on relaxing your muscles on the exhale. So now that I've relaxed a little bit, can you see how I'm able to bring that knee down to the floor? But it's not a goal. There's nowhere that you're trying to get to. It's not about the depth of your pose, it's about what you can feel. It's about sensation. You want just enough, but not too much. And then again, you're going to use this elbow, pull your ribs down, roll yourself back. And then same thing on the other side, left knee in and twist over. So you see how I move my hips so that my hips are stacked, and you'll see how important that is on our last pose that we're going to do. So again, you're just relaxing down and gradually releasing your knee and your shoulder more towards the floor. And again, come out. And then have a little rock side to side, just massaging out your lower back. You can always have a rock forwards and back just to see how that affects you. I really like doing that now. But if you've any disc issues, disc problems, if you've any neck issues, don't do this next one just yet. Just give yourself a little bit more practice, but with your twists. And come up. And then our last pose, going to extend your legs out. This is where it's nice, especially if you're new to yoga, to sit your hips up on something, on a little bit of height, elevate your hips. And you're going to bring your right knee in, might need some props here, and then keeping that knee closed, so you're squeezing that knee as if you're trying to close it even more, and you're going to open that right knee out to the right. Now my knee comes to the floor, but if yours doesn't, I would suggest that you prop it up with something, cushions or books or whatever, because the more that you can relax it, the more you're going to open your hip up. And I know opening your hips isn't what we're here for primarily, but everything is interconnected. Whatever's going on in your spine, I mean, your spine is like the main channel of energy, everything, you know, every movement has to do with your spine, your body. So it's all interconnected, and you will find that you've got tightness in other places because of what's happening in your spine. So what we're going to do is take your fingers out to the sides, and you're going to push into the floor and lift and lengthen your spine. Now I want you to take your hands to the back of your pelvis and just check that your pelvis is level. So the right and left side of your pelvis are level. And then I'm going to ask you to push your fingers down and back and start to tip forwards. Start to tip forwards. And what you'll find is that the curve in your spine may well pull your pelvis out of line. So I want you to only go to where that happens and then stay in the pose and just start to lengthen out the spine and keep your pelvis completely level at the back. And then from here, come up. So again, you're going to time yourself at least a minute, and then when you find which is your tighter side, which this is my tighter side, then you're going to take double the length of time there. So if you need something underneath that knee, you're going to put something underneath that knee, and then again check that your hips are level. So this is where mine come a little bit out of line, so I'm going to use my fingers again and lift and lengthen my spine. So big breath in, and then as you exhale, push your fingers down and back as you start to tip forwards. Doesn't matter about the depth, it's what you can feel. And I want you to keep checking that your spine isn't pulling your pelvis out of alignment. But when you make sure that your pelvis is in alignment, you're going to start to correct these imbalances between the right and left side of your torso. And lengthen the back of your neck, and you're keeping this right leg nice and active by pulling your toes towards your face, and you're squeezing that left knee as if you're trying to close that knee, and you're rolling your shoulders back. So you may not come down anywhere near the depth that I do, but it's not about that, it's about what you can feel, as I've said before. And then when you've finished your time, you're going to slowly come up and just give your legs a shake out. So that's the end of our first practice, the twisting. So keep with it, practice it as often as you can, and then when you're ready you can check out the next of the videos, which will be about lengthening, creating length in your spine. So I shall see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.
Please like and subscribe.